What's good, my pack? My friend Kid here back again. Look, I got no love for pedophiles, okay? I don't. And when instant karma comes to them, these jack-offs, you won't get a shed of tear from me. If you go about hurting children, you get no love from me. And one of the greatest codes that I actually like in prison is if they find out that you're a pedophile, they'll make your lives a living hell. Good. We're going to watch a video called These Pedophiles Got Instant Karma. If you like what you see, please leave your comments in the section down below. Give it a thumbs up. Things like that, as always. But yeah, this is going to be my reaction to it because, look, I'm not... If you hear me saying good, then that's how I feel. I'm just letting you guys know, right? I'm just letting you guys know right now. If you hear me saying that good, then that's good. But let's do this. Thank you for hitting that play button. Let's do it. Now.
Well, if it's all right, I'd like to tell you where it started.
Go ahead.
All right, well, he was my bunkie, and I had found out that he was in prison for child molestation. So that night he was trying to justify why he did it, and I just told him to be quiet, and he would have to leave in the morning to find a new cell. But he continued to talk about it and try to justify it, so I wrapped a cord around his neck and I took his life.
This is Stephen Sanderson, an inmate at the Saginaw Correctional Facility in Freeland, and the killer of his fellow inmate Theodore Dyer, a convicted child molester.
Look at that disgusting prick.
When Stephen was agitated by Dyer's stories of crime,
what a
he
prick!
took the opportunity and did what he thought was best in the time given. Stephen has won himself a place among dozens of inmates around the world who can't even stand to be in the same room as a child molester.
I respect you, Stephen.
To them, a prison sentence is not any different from a death sentence. In this video, we're taking you through the stories of some of the most high-profile child molesters who were killed or brutally attacked in jail. Let's get started. Richard Huckle, Britain's worst pedophile.
Britain? Whoa, this is in England?
This is Richard William Huckle, an Englishman who worked as a freelance photographer
33?
in Malaysia and participated in the local community before moving there permanently in 2010. He hoped to establish himself as a successful photographer and build a reputation in the community. Huckle also worked part-time for the Nike football club in Malaysia. But even with such a full schedule, he made time for his crime. In 2014, the police discovered a network of pedophiles operating on a dark web network called the Love Zone. They identified a member who always made posts using the greeting, "Hias," and had a distinctive freckle on one of his fingers. The police assumed the identity of the member Shannon McCool and used his website to catch other pedophiles. They rescued 85 children from ongoing abuse and arrested hundreds of pedophiles. One of which was yours truly.
Look at this punk.
Due to the number of children he had abused and the attitude of his posts, the police discovered his real identity and alerted the National Crime Agency. And Huckle was arrested at Gatwick Airport on December 19th, 2014.
Good.
Huckle had no criminal record, and the police released him on bail under the condition that he lives with his parents.
No, what the? Release it? No, what the?
Confronted him about the allegations, and he drunkenly admitted to raping children aged 3 to 13. After which his parents contacted the police and implored them to arrest him. He was rearrested and charged with 91 counts.
3 years?
He was denied bail by the police and imprisoned at HMP Lewis before being transferred to HMP Belmarsh in London to await trial.
Disgusting,
at an initial
man.
hearing at the Old Bailey in January of 2016, Huckle pled not guilty to all 91 charges.
Oh, you gotta be...
over an hour to read in court. During a preliminary trial hearing in April, Huckle pled guilty to 71 of the 91 charges he was facing after a request to watch all of the evidence against him in court. His victims ranged in age from 6 months to 12 years old. He boasted about his crimes to other pedophiles, posting such comments as, quote, "Hit the jackpot. A 3-year-old girl as loyal to me as my dog and nobody seemed to care. Impoverished kids are definitely much easier to seduce than middle-class kids." In the end, Richard
are
Huckle
y'all
was
seeing
sentenced
this?
to life
Are y'all
in prison
seeing
with a minimum term of 25 years, making him one of the UK's most prolific child sex offenders.
Fuck him.
His crimes shocked the nation, and his case was widely covered by the media. But the dark story didn't end there. In the years that followed Huckle's conviction, it emerged that he had made plans to abuse more children in the Philippines.
Oh, fuck
The
you.
true scale of Huckle's depravity was only fully understood after his death. In October of 2019, he was found dead in his prison cell, having been stabbed to death by a fellow inmate.
Good.
The killer inmate, Paul Fitzgerald, was said to have attacked as revenge for Huckle's crimes against children.
Good.
The tragic and dark story of Richard Huckle
I ain't shedding no tears for this fucker.
Reminder of the depths of human
Disgusting.
depravity and the damage that can be caused by those who seek to harm the innocent. Roy William Whiting.
Oh! Oh, he looks creepy.
This.
Oh
is
no!
Sarah Kane,
Don't show the kids,
a
please.
8-year-old girl with the sweetest of smiles.
Oh,
who was playing
come
hide and
on.
seek with her siblings Lee, Luke, and Charlotte at her grandparents' house in Kingston Gorse, West Sussex. Sarah had hit her head and ran off crying, just meters away from her older brothers who were out of sight. A frantic search began, but the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into 16 agonizing days. Finally,
Stop showing the girl,
naked body was
please.
discovered in a shallow grave a few miles away, her angelic face forever frozen in terror and pain. The police immediately launched a manhunt, determined to bring the monster responsible to justice. But as the investigation dragged on, hope began to fade. It wasn't until months later that they finally had a suspect in their sights. Yours truly. Roy was arrested several
Look at his
weeks later
eyes,
after
man.
a
Look at his
who knew him
eyes.
Came forward,
He looks just
and a knife was found hidden in his car.
just looks psychotic and
In June of that year,
Look at his
Roy
eyes.
admitted charges of abduction and indecent assault and was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Despite a psychiatrist's warning that he was likely to reoffend, Roy was released from prison in November of 1997.
Why the fuck did
after
y'all
serving
release this
just over
dude?
2 years of his sentence.
why the fuck did y'all
He was
look
one
at
of the
him?
first people in Britain to go on the sex offenders register, but he was forced to serve an extra 5 months in prison for refusing to participate in a sex offender rehabilitation program.
You see?
In November of
Oh,
2002,
he looks like something
Roy
out
was
of a
given
horror movie.
50-year minimum sentence by Home Secretary David Blunkett, meaning he would not be released from prison until 2051 at the age of 92. Roy appealed against the ruling, and in 2010, the High Court reduced his minimum term to 40 years, making him eligible for parole at the age of 82. Roy's time in prison...
Man, he shouldn't get nothing.
The violence and tragedy that he endured left a lasting mark on his body and soul. In 2002, he was attacked by convicted murderer Ricky Tregaskis with a razor.
That's
leaving
what you
a
get.
6-inch scar on his cheek.
That's what you get.
In 2011, he was stabbed in the eye by another inmate, and in 2018, he was viciously attacked by 2 prisoners in his cell at Wakefield Prison. The attackers had smuggled blades into the wing and punched and kicked Roy in the face and upper body before stabbing him multiple times.
I'm
Roy
not
crawled under his bed
shut-
to protect
no
himself,
love.
but the attackers did not stop until the door was forced open. Roy said he had never had any trouble with his attackers, and he was used to being called nonce, pedophile, and baby killer by inmates. It's a miracle he survived, but it's inevitable that if he puts his guard down again, he won't make it out alive.
I'm shedding no love, no tears for this fool.
Ashley James Brofo.
Oh, we got a girl.
This is 39-year-old Ashley James
Oh,
Brofo,
okay.
whose darkness of life began before he was even born.
Oh,
His mother didn't
Oh!
love him, so he was raised by his grandmother alongside his stepbrother Terrence Kelly. It was a childhood filled with abuse and violence.
Oh, no.
Which would shape Brofo's twisted mind and make him every parent's worst nightmare. In July of 2022, the full extent of his depravity was revealed in a sentencing hearing in Berth District Court. A young girl was staying with her step-grandparents.
that photo of
during
him
school
looked
holidays.
just psychotic.
He
He
innocently
looked
asked
like a
her to walk the
villain.
dog alone to the
Well,
park.
he is, but you know what I mean.
Brofo saw her near the park and approached her from behind, luring her with a burger from Hungry Jack's. He took her hand and lured her to his house. Once inside, Brofo assaulted and exposed himself to the girl.
Oh
He
no!
tried to leave, but he lured her to his bedroom. In the house was also his carer, who had seen him
Okay,
enter the
get
house with
that.
the
He's
child.
kind of creeping me out.
He immediately tried to interrupt the assault by banging on the front door. The girl was able to escape, running back to her grandparents' house.
Oh, she got away. Good, thank God.
Brofo's lawyer tried to blame his client's quote-unquote opportunistic offense on his intellectual disability and schizophrenia. But the state
Stop showing that
argued
picture.
it was only because Brofo's carer happened to visit that the girl was able to escape. Brofo pled guilty to 2 counts of indecently dealing with a child under 13 and encouraging a child to engage in sexual acts.
No way.
He faced up to 20 years in Hakea prison in Australia, but he had only served 1 year before he met his unfortunate end. On the 9th of March
Gotta stop showing
2023,
it.
Brofo was found unresponsive in his cell at Perth's Hakea prison.
Somebody poisoned him?
Staff provided first aid and paramedics attended the scene, but they were unable to revive him.
Somebody poisoned him.
The homicide squad is treating his death as suspicious, and several male prisoners are assisting detectives with their inquiries. DeAndre Austin. This is DeAndre Austin.
Why did it have to be a black dude up on here?
Charged
Fuck.
with committing 13 sexual offenses on his 3 minor nieces.
Niece!
Identified as Jane Doe 1, 2, and 3. He periodically shared quarters with them during the period from 2002 to 2006, which gave him his lustful opportunities. The accommodation was so crowded that Jane Doe 1 slept on a fold-out bed in the living room,
Fucking
while the defendant slept on a couch about 4
Richard
feet away.
nieces, man.
During the winter of 2001, he began rubbing her leg when they were alone in the apartment. Around Valentine's Day of 2002, he began feeling, now quoting the Jane Doe, hands touching on my body in a weird way. By the time she was 10 years old, DeAndre was manhandling her and doing explicit things to her.
You fucker.
This type of pedophilic
You
behavior
fucker. They
continued with
trusted
all 3
you.
girls.
Those are unique.
And the worst part was, their grandparents didn't believe them. Austin was sentenced in 2008 to a life sentence with the possibility of parole for the continuous sexual assault of his 3 elementary school-age nieces. That's where he met his cellmate, Rodney Jordan, who was serving a 2-year term for a first-degree burglary conviction from Los Angeles County. On the 15th of October 2020, DeAndre Austin was pronounced dead at 6:30 p.m., less than an hour after correctional officers responded to a report of a man down in his cell, according to a news release from the California Department of Corrections and
That
Rehabilitation.
one, nah, man.
Authorities placed Austin's cellmate, 29-year-old Rodney Jordan, in a segregated cell, and it's considered to be the prime suspect in Austin's death, but it's still unclear how exactly Austin died. So to all child molesters and sex offenders, this is the unquestionable fate behind bars.
That's right.
Despite having a maximum security prison, a sex offender will fear for his safety everywhere he goes. And while some might be left with bruises and marks, none of them are forgetting for 1 second that at any moment, their fate can be no different than these child molesters who were killed in jail.
Fuckers. Fuck you. Fuck all of them. That last one got me, man. They trusted your ass, man. Those are your nieces, man. And and what bothers me a lot about that video, a little bit, just hearing what the narrator was saying, is the fact that the courts let them out, and when they got documented by psychiatrists saying if he's let out, he will do it again, and they let them. That is why there's a lot of people, a lot of us say, in this country alone, the judicial system is a farce. You let these fuckers out, and that's what happens. Look at that little girl. Then the previous one before, that little girl from England, I think she was from England, she died because of that creepy fucker, man. And then that dude from Australia, if they'd have stopped showing it, he looked like a villain from some kind of, from a comic. He just looked terrifying. And then that last one, that really got me. Those are your nieces, man. They trusted you to protect them, and Yeah, you can love them, but that not that kind of love. You fuckwad, man. And then that other one, that first one, good. I ain't shedding no tears for any of these dickwads. Ain't none of them. That's they got what they deserve. You got what you deserve. I told there's a code even in prison. They find them inmates find out that you are a child molester or a pedophile. Your life is a living hell. And I love how the narrator even brought that up at the end. Plain and simple. There's a YouTuber YouTuber who was a prisoner, Larry Lawton. Watch him all the time, and he talked about it. Like he brought up that whole, is it really true? There's that. He said, "Yep, it is true. I've seen it." Things like I'm glad. I have no compassion for that. None. I have none. I've said it before, and I've said it before. If I find if I have kids, or when I have kids, and I find out somebody touched them, they better pray I don't catch them. That right there was. But I'm glad I watched it though. I'm glad I did. You guys tell me in the comment section below, what did you think about it? Do you have any compassion for them? I hope not. If you do, something wrong with you. Like, yes, compassion is one thing, but when you hurt a child, that's a big no-no for me. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. You guys take care.